want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Madmen of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good morning, Madmen Mafia. What happened? Where are you going?
I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Madmen of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
I just wanted to have like a pregnant pause right there.
Well, you've been working. I mean, they don't know how hard you work. You know, my man is working a full-time job, doing this show. Then he's emceeing on the weekends too. Like, I'm surprised your voice still works.
I'm surprised too, as a matter of fact. I'm surprised too. You know,
been working. He worked 2 jobs Friday and then emceed all day.
Handling business, man. Doing what we do. You got to use them gifts, man. You know, it's like a sponge, man. If you don't squeeze it, ain't none of this good stuff coming out, man.
Yeah, actually, for those of you who watch us that are in the area, in the Mile High City, or even in surrounding cities, if you need an MC, Kirk M. Samuels has been praised as the best that most people have ever seen.
Ooh.
So, holler at your boys.
Big words, man.
Hey, I keep hearing it. So, you got to acknowledge it. You hear it once, you're like, okay, they're gassing you up. Oh, you hear it twice, maybe he paid them. You hear it 3-4 times, then there must be some proof in the pudding.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, everybody's got a gift. Everybody's got multiple gifts, I think, at least one. But whatever your gift is, man, you got to use it. And sometimes you don't even know what your gifts are until you actually, go to use a tool and figure out, like, man, I can do that.
Yeah.
But you got to get off the couch, man. Nothing good happening when you're on the couch, man, eating flaming hot Cheetos and watching reality TV.
Yeah, and along those lines, too, sometimes it takes you going through it to find out what your gifts truly are. And, as we talked about last week, we were talking about addiction versus recovery. And we're starting our addiction recovery month. And so we are bringing in the people who know, like they know all about addiction and recovery. Mm-hmm. And, I think probably when we talk to him, we'll find out that, maybe he didn't know what his talents were until he got to that point, and now he knows.
Yeah, so many people have different stories. So many people have different perspectives. And, we're doing this multiple part series on addiction. And, in our particular area, we happen to know several people that kind of specialize, I guess you could say, or that are neck deep, sometimes, eyeballs deep in that work, man. And so why not just bring it? And again, whatever that story is, I hope to, at least from my perspective, to not get in the way of, anyone's different perspective on addiction to recovery, especially people who do this thing full time, man. And today we got a real one.
We got the realness.
Today we got a real
one, the only Mr. Benjamin Drake of Step 7 in the house.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. First of all, this is home team right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, golf buddy. If you follow either one of us on social media, you've seen this face before on a golf course. But Ben he's one of my favorite people on earth, man. One of my favorite people on earth, and I'm not understating that at all, man.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here, like I'm jealous. It's all right.
I said one of, man.
One of.
Put
that disclaimer in there.
Yeah, and this dude I'm not, again, we're gonna let him share his story. But if you could see his before picture, I mean, man, it's pretty trippy to see.
Look like me back in high school with all the acne and all the craziness.
And so we're gonna get real, man. I mean, this is real stuff, man. There are real people that have been through some real stuff, and some of your cred is street cred. And so, Benjamin Drake, share your story, man. How did you get to where you are in the journey of addiction to recovery?
Man, first off, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for having me here.
Of course.
Man, you guys are very special to my heart, very special to my life. And like recovery is, it's crucially important to really talk about this and see kind of the ins and outs. And like Jason was saying, these skills that were forged through the crucible of destruction, man.
All right, get the tissues. He's already.
I know, man.
Oh,
you ain't even wait till this dude got a story, man. Homeboy got a story, man. Bring it, dude. Be real with the people. The people need to know, man.
All right.
Somebody thinks they're the only one to have this story, or their son, or their brother, or their husband. Somebody thinks like there's no hope for this person in my life.
Man,
give these people some hope, man.
Here we go. So yeah, Benjamin Drake. I'm a recovered addict. I had a 14-year drug addiction to meth. And it wasn't just, a recreational drug use. That's definitely how it started, right? It was always just a taste, and that taste turned into a vicious beast that devoured everything in its path, my life, the lives around me, and quickly started from just, again, recreationally using it to having it, and it wasn't the basic forms of it either. I went straight to the top. I went straight to IV drug use, and that will destroy your life in a matter of, a couple years. And what the crazy part about addiction is that it has this facade that, it doesn't really show you all the damage up front. It lets you participate, play the game until you are too far in it. And then you have these glimpses when you go sit down for a year in jail, and then you look around and you're like, man, my life is in shambles. But you have that beast that you don't know how to control, and you let it back out of the box and it starts eating everything in its path. So yeah, 14-year drug addiction to meth. Started using when I was pretty young. Moved aggressively through that. I started cooking it. I got tired of buying it, and with my addictive personality, it was definitely something that I found a little forte in, unfortunately. Started cooking it, manufacturing it, and that led to guns, and that just compounded everything. At the end of it, I was about 13 felonies deep in multiple judicial districts. More than one occasion, the judge was telling me that I was going to go spend the rest of my life in prison. And at the end of it, there's a bunch of stuff in between there, but at the end of it, I definitely was okay with that. At least a little girl wouldn't have to be calling her dad, or her dad calling her on the jail phone, and her asking her daddy, why aren't you here? Why are you sick? And you have to tell this little precious girl that, you love a drug more than her.
Ouch.
I go sit down for a year at a time, and I get back out to reality. And in that same hour of me being released, in that parking lot, I'd be using. And that whole time sitting down, it wasn't me trying to restructure my life or do self-inventory and stuff like that. That was me counting down the hours of the time off the street. Like, man, I'm losing time here. I'm losing money. What can I do when I get back out to not get caught? What can I do to better this, horrible empire that I was trying to do, the gangster lifestyle. And man, it was definitely, again, just a fire that I was fueling with accelerant that I had no idea how dangerous it was. At the end of it, I stood in a courtroom, and the judge was like, give me a reason not to send you to prison. I said, I don't have one. I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm so tired of looking over my shoulder. I'm so tired of disappointing my family. I'm so tired of hurting everybody around me. And I was really at peace with being hopeless. And I think that is, the grand prize of the end of addiction, right? That's that rock bottom, is where you are complacent. You are okay with the hell that you have created, And I was okay with it. I was going to get out of prison when I was 60, if I was going to go for my full sentence, or I'd die in some hotel bathroom or on the street. I was really okay with it. And then Jesus showed up in that courtroom. Wow. Yeah. My lawyer at the time leaned over to the DA. They whispered some things, and my lawyer said, what about treatment? I scoffed at it. I said, me in treatment? You gotta be kidding me. And the judge kind of, he saw me making that statement, and he said, okay. He said, you have 2 days to find an approved sober living program that will take you. And if you can't get in by 2 days, then you're on the DRDC bus and, have a good life. And so I went back to that county jail pod, and I wrote my mom a kind of a goodbye letter. You know, I'm sorry, Mom. Sorry for being a bad son. I'm sorry for all the pain I caused. I'm sorry. You know, like just tell my daughter that I love her. I hope that you can be in her life, and maybe sometime we can work all this out, but I'm going to go. And she said, challenge accepted. Our God is too big for this. And there's too many people praying for you. And my mom being my mom, I'm like, okay, Mom, like, thanks. Like a little glimpse of hope, but you know, let's be real. We all know that this isn't going to happen. So I went to sleep, and I said one of those foxhole prayers, you know, and they call them foxhole prayers because, you know, you're dug in. You got the enemy all around you. I mean, you can see the whites of their eyes in the dark, that they are so close to you, and yet you got to hold your post. And you say that prayer, you know, Lord, get me through tonight. Mine was, God, get me out of this situation. Lord, if you do this, I'll give you my life, and I will devote myself to you and to the saving of your children. Like, if you are who you are, time to flex. Let's see it. And I woke up the next morning with an email from my mom, and she said, you have a phone interview at 2 with Step 7 Ministries, and they got a spot available, and it's in Parker, and it's a faith-based thing. And I wrote back to Mom, and I said, you can't just schedule a phone conference in jail, you know, like that's just not how that works. She says, well, at 2:00, you know, just be ready to answer that phone. And 1:59 rolled around, 2:00 hit, and I started getting a little nervous. And the tower called the pod, said, Mr. Drake, you have a professional visit. I'll buzz you out. You can come down here and take this phone call. I was like, man, if this ain't real, this is real. And I walked down there, and I remember the executive director saying, like, are you tired? Are you sick of what you're doing? I said, yeah, man, I'm way sick of this. And he said, perfect. You're a perfect candidate. You know, the guys in the house he asked me some other questions, of course, but that was the general meat of it, you know, just how done are you? And I think that's really what it takes for an individual to start to rebuild and restructure his life, is just, you got to be at the end of yourself, bro. Like, you got to be done.
Yeah, I think it's that that hopelessness thing, that, you know, that those stories we tell ourselves about, I'm not good enough for this, I'm not good enough for that, and so it generates the hopelessness where you go, well, this is just my lot in life, and like that whole acceptance thing where you just get to that point, you're like, oh, I guess this is what I do.
So that end of the rope right there is a great place to transition. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back, and we're gonna hear what happened right after that. Then we're gonna get into some meat and potatoes. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC 1220 AM. We'll be right back. Boom, that was dope, dude.
Yeah, that's the quietest the two of us have been ever.
That was dope, dude. That was dope, dude. Yeah, that was dope, dude. Man, that was dope. And hey, if anybody watching this, go to the Mad Men page. If you're watching us live right now, you can go to the Mad Men of Masculinity page on Facebook
or YouTube.
And you can put in a comment, and we'll see your comment live, and JBK will put you on the screen and make you famous.
Yeah, you can become part of the show if you want. Yeah,
you got to go to the Mad Men, not either one of our personal pages. You go to the Mad Men of Masculinity page and or YouTube, or maybe even just YouTube. But you put a comment in there, and we'll see it here live, and we'll make you famous. We getting real today, man. It's real stuff, man. Because somebody out there is saying no way.
Yeah.
Like somebody out there, everybody, you know, like, no, my situation is too far gone. You know, no way. Like, you know, and again, even if it ain't for them, for somebody they know, right?
Yeah.
And
so is that Breaking Bad check still coming in? Or?
That's that buried money.
Oh, hey.
Can't talk about that.
Can't talk about that.
I'm listening to your story. I'm like, that sounds awful familiar for some reason.
Got to keep that off the record.
Yeah.
Where's the Winnebago?
For real. Boom. All right, let's rock and roll. All right.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Man, buckle up. Put your
Dude.
seatbelt on. This is going to be a bumpy ride.
For real. Get your popcorn ready.
I'm telling you what.
You know, get your soups ready. You know, wherever some of y'all, wherever you at, you might have some soups.
Grab them tissues,
get
man.
your honey buns.
Yeah.
Get your honey buns and your soups ready. because this is a real one up in this joint. Get your commissary in because this is real up in this bad boy. We are talking about today. Jason ingeniously named this a guide from addiction to recovery with our man Ben Drake. Man, this is again one of my favorite people on earth, man. Just period. I don't care what nobody say, man. I will fight you over this dude. I really will. There's not too many people I will, man, but I'll fight you over this dude, man. And so before the break, you were talking about just kind of really the way I pictured it, it was like your story down.
Yeah.
And I like to say that, sometimes the end of your rope is the beginning of your fuse.
Man.
And where you ended was kind of like an end of a rope and almost like you were beginning to turn the corner, man. So you get this phone call from Step 7, all of us, they got an opening, and then what?
Yeah, so I came down, got that phone call, talked to the executive director. It was real too easy, like real.
That's how he does it, man.
Yeah, it's just,
too easy.
Yeah. For all this time, I thought it was this huge event that, or this huge process that had to happen. And I guess it was in general, or in a general sense, but you just have to come to the end of yourself, And so picked up the phone, talked to him, and he said, yeah, we got an opening, and how'd you like to come on Thursday? And I said, man, that fits the time frame just perfect, because that day I was supposed to head to prison. So I hung up the phone, and I was shell-shocked. I was speechless, and I looked over at the guard, and on the guard's computer, all the phone conversations, they're transcript, right? So he can read as you're talking to whoever you're on the phone with. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I think I need my lawyer. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I need to get in front of that judge like tomorrow. And it was already late, 2:00. Court's about to wrap up for the day. And there I was walking right out of there into a courtroom with that same judge that gave me 48 hours to find an approved program, which honestly, I knew he thought I couldn't do it, and honestly, I couldn't have done it. This was God showing up. And so I stood in front of him, and he was shocked. And he said, well, I got to hold true on my word. So yeah, you'll be released to Step 7 Ministries. But Mr. Drake, I got to tell you, if you even sneeze wrong, that's a wrap. Like, there will be no court sentence, there'll be no hearing. You'll go straight. You'll get transferred direct, and that'll be it. So there I was, walking out of the jail.
How much time were you looking at?
32 years.
Wow. Oh, have mercy.
That was the rest of my adult life.
Was that with like possibility parole, like good behavior kind of stuff, or was that like
some of it was aggravated, because of the quantities and stuff. So I would serve most of that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure I could get in on some work details and stuff and shave some, time off of it, but we're talking.
Yeah, that's a
couple
long
years.
time.
So,
Like, let's take 3 years off of 30. Yeah, that helps a lot. Man.
I'd be so institutionalized. And there's gentlemen that do that, right? I mean, it's a real deal thing. And so there I was in the car headed to an address that I got, and I show up out front, and the guys are raking leaves, and I look at the house, and I'm like, there's no way this is a sober living. Like, bro, this is a nice house. So I checked the address a couple of times. I have the person drive away from the house and turn around and come back, do the whole double check thing. And then I walk up, and the house leader knows me by name already. He says, Benjamin Drake, what's up, man? How are you? And I'm standing there with a clear property bag and the smell of jail and everything I was doing prior to, because they don't wash your clothes. You walk out with cigarette smoke, you walk out with blood or whatever's on your clothes. That's what you leave jail with. And he goes, I'm so glad you're here, man. And I love you. I was like, what? This guy. This guy telling me he loves me. He doesn't know me. And so I walk in the house, and everybody's just there being so supportive. And I walked through the threshold of the door, and I instantly felt safe.
Wow.
And for years I hadn't felt safe. I didn't even know what safe felt like.
Wow.
Always looking over my shoulder, always wondering what was going on, whatever it was, And it was an adjustment period. I gotta tell you that.
I bet.
I mean,
it just struck a nerve in me when he said he felt safe, because I think, especially for guys nowadays, and those especially dealing with addiction and just being isolated, and just, you go through so many things as a man today. You're not allowed to be a man. Then there's divorce, and then if you're trying to make ends meet, and maybe you do something that you're not supposed to try to do that, and maybe you get caught up and start getting addicted. I mean, just that feeling of safety. It's one of those core things. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to feel safe and secure to be able to, thrive in the world. And so many of us just don't feel that way. So we're using whatever we can get our hands on to try to numb that pain and feel, either take the pain away or just mask it with something else.
In our culture, it's not a far stretch to understand or think or relate that women value safety. They walk around with a little pepper spray and all that kind of stuff and blah, 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 and look over their shoulders. And that is a reality. It's also a reality that men need safety too. It looks different. It may not be physical safety. We don't walk down the street looking over our shoulder the way women do when we walk out to our car in the parking lot at the mall.
Right.
But there is a level of safety that we need, and maybe that safety, especially based off of what you just said, maybe that safety comes from community and acceptance.
Absolutely.
I see the picture from you back then, and you are unrecognizable. You look like hammered dog doo-doo, man. I mean,
that's nice.
Well,
it's true.
Yeah,
Am I lying?
no.
I'm telling you, man. I mean,
I haven't seen this picture, but
dude,
I'll trust you.
He'll show you this picture, man. A completely different human being.
Wow.
But so that level of safety, man, to come in and to feel that, man, and that had to have been a game changer for you.
Yeah, and it was such a surreal feeling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what it feels like.
Mm.
He showed me the room, got me settled in, and then he just left me alone.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about step 7, the sober living homes, is each man gets his own room.
Mm-hmm.
So you get your own space. You get to shut the door.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what I did. I walked in, I told him thank you. I shut the door and I sat down on the bed like, whoa, like this is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And like I said, there was an adjustment period, and I was no role model in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
None of us are. We're trying to combat again this beast that we have no idea how to even begin to tame or put in that box. And as I progressed, I became a house leader. And let me rewind a little bit. So step 7 is kind of structured into this 3-pillar ministry. It's got recovery-based small groups, it's got sober living homes, and then it's got a recovery-based church service. And the small groups are really where the fortification comes from, right? Your home is safe, your home is where you do life, right? But these small groups are where you get to step outside of that community that you've started to build in your respective house and get to do community with other men in groups, learning about Jesus and other things, how to talk, how to conflict, how to hold conversations without, ready to fight kind of things, or getting so emotionally hurt from the things that you're actually speaking about yourself that you fall into this spiral. And to kind of add what you said, Kirk, about safety, I would like to almost venture down the path that men need emotional safety,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because we got the physical all day long,
Mm-hmm.
and we got this warrior mentality, but like behind every good warrior, he needs a safe place where he can take that armor off, and just beat out the dents in that armor and then put it back on and step back into the battlefield. If you never do that, man, you got holes in your Kevlar.
Dude, that's deep right there, man. That's deep.
I can imagine just like that, having that first feeling of safety has got to be triggering in a lot of ways. Like you're coming from strict survival mode. You're coming out of prison, you're coming out of jail, like you're watching it over your back. You're on high alert. Then you come to a place and you're like, oh, this is safety. And I bet for a lot of guys, it probably even triggers them more deeply, because you're like, I don't trust it. This doesn't feel normal. This feels weird. Like nobody's coming at me. I don't even know how to have conversations without getting violent.
Right.
So that must be a long kind of like adjustment process just to get to that point of like, oh, this is actually real. Like how long did it take you to go from like disbelief to like, oh, this is the truth?
better part of 6 months,
Wow.
honestly.
Mhm.
And my house leader was such a great role model. And that's what Step 7 has, is examples
Mhm.
all around you of how these men with similar stories have found safety, security, and stability, and found out how to best leverage that to move forward in a productive lifestyle. And that's what really got me.
Mhm.
Like, I see you, I can do that.
Mhm.
So how did you do that?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it's all laid out in front of you once you walk in the door and you figure things out. But one of the big things that I was struggling with was like this self-acceptance,
Mhm.
the self-esteem, the thing of life without drugs, right? Like it was hard for me.
Mhm.
And my house leader told me that he was gonna love me until I figured out how to love myself.
Mm.
And that's what caught me.
Dude, dysfunction can become normal.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
dysfunction in our lives in many ways can become normal. And sometimes until you see other like normal, something else that could be normal, then it's hard to even wrap your mind around that. And so until you see safety, sobriety, until you see stability, until you see all those kinds of things and experience those kind of things, sometimes it's hard to even believe that those things are real,
Right.
and they can become normal, for you.
So many years I wasn't normal.
Right.
I was discarded
Mhm.
as in the public eye, right? Law enforcement, all the other things, right? That was, I was the black sheep of everything,
Mhm.
right? Oh, you're doing drugs. Why can't you just quit?
See, I would even disagree with that. I was like, you were normal in that situation.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the things that we sometimes demonize people who are struggling, because we like, well, why can't you be normal? Well, in the situation I'm at, this is my normal.
No.
In this situation I come from, this is my normal. And it's like shifting, because you're basically shifting your entire paradigm.
Right.
You're
'Cause
shifting from that.
that situation was normal. It's not
Mhm.
that you were normal in that situation became normal.
Yeah.
And again, it's like right in the middle of the word dysfunction is the word fun.
Mhm.
Right. And so that it can be so twisted and upside down and then for somebody on the outside to look at you on the inside and say, dude, why can't you just stop? Why can't you just step away from all of that? And that's where it becomes hard for family and friends and siblings and kids and all that kind of stuff to understand. When you're looking at the fish and you say, how's the water? The fish says, what water?
Right.
The fish doesn't know any different. And so it's two totally different worlds, man. And man, I tell you what, we're going.
Speaking of two different worlds,
yeah, we're gonna take it from here. We're gonna take it to a break, and we're gonna take this up to another level.
take it up a notch.
We'll be right back. Mad Men and Masculinity. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason we started this was like,
Yeah.
we both have our own kind of stories and stuff, but it was just like looking out at the world, especially in the US, the
Mhm.
West.
Mhm.
Everybody's addicted to something.
Mhm.
Bro,
Some are more, maybe more toxic than others with
Oh,
drugs
man.
and stuff. But I mean,
everybody has something.
cell
I mean,
phone shopping.
Yeah.
I mean, just distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in our culture, addiction is normal.
Mhm.
I think we don't even realize in our culture how addicted we are to our phones, to food,
Just
to
look- just
TV.
Just
to
look at how they say this is
something.
how you be successful. You
Right.
have to grind, and you got to be addicted to
Oh.
work, and you got to be addicted to money. You got to be greedy. You're just like, hang on a second.
We don't
Like-
even I don't even know in our culture if we just can't even see see that whole thing. But man, yeah, it's man,
It's running rampant.
it is,
We
man.
need to shine a light on it and be like, hey, addiction is the new normal here. We need to change that.
Yeah.
But that comes from like community and
Right.
love and actual having conversations. Because how many of us in the midst of it?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna talk about that. Don't ask me about that. I don't want to talk
And
about that.
trying to explain to a fish that he's in the water doesn't do any good. Like, from the outside looking in, to push a person to just say, hey, just stop, hey, get better, whatever. I mean, if it was that easy, then okay.
Sure.
But
That's a great analogy though, fishing, because like that's what you have to do with addicts. You have to like put a line in the water and basically yank them out, hook them out, and be like, hey, this is
You just got to show them that life is
different.
livable.
there's something
Right.
different. Yeah.
There's a
Without
better
it.
life. Yeah.
without it.
That's the big thing.
Speaking of without it, we better come back without it.
This is still good though. I mean,
Mhm.
folks are still watching this. We're still streaming.
Right.
This is good stuff, man. All right. We're
Yeah.
back.
Yes, we're back.
Yeah, we back doing this thing, man.
Man,
we
buckle
were
up.
chopping it up during the break,
I'm
man.
telling you what.
If y'all don't peep this on YouTube or Facebook, man, I mean the video part of all this, all the off there stuff, you missing out because this is a good one.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, we can't not talk about things off the air.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, and there's some things we have to talk about off the air. So if you are listening to us on KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City,
Check it out.
check us out on YouTube and Facebook and Spotify, because or Apple Podcasts, because we stream everywhere, and there's always something behind the scenes that we just can't. The FCC don't like it, and we don't want to make them mad, so we stay away from them three-letter agencies.
Yeah. A Guide from Addiction to Recovery with Ben Drake of Step 7 Ministries. So you described the story from jail to to getting out to into the sober living home with Step 7, and then but right now you have a title at Step 7. What is that title?
Yeah, I'm actually the executive director of the ministry.
What?
Wait a minute.
Hold up, dude.
Come on, Mr. Jefferson.
Hold up,
What's
man.
going on, man?
Wait a minute. Hold up, dude. No. The same dude that was told you about to get sent, you about to get sent
33
upstate for 30 years, man, for decades of your life. The same dude who was strung out, same dude who went from using to cooking and all these other kind of things that you just described. The same dude as an executive director. Come on, man. Stop. Like, keep it real, man. Be real. Stop, dude. Stop.
Our God's a big God. Let me tell you that.
Come on, man. I
Man.
mean, that is. What was the progress? What was the progression of that? Though?
Yeah, right.
That surely just didn't happen overnight.
No, sir. A lot of forging, a refining of a man. So yeah, I walked into it about 6-7 months in. I really started grabbing traction, right? It really started clicking for me and understanding that I wanted a life way more than I wanted a life with drugs and alcohol. I wanted a life of, success. I have a daughter. I have a family I'm trying to build. Like, I got things I want to do, bro, and I'm fully sold in, I'm all ready to do this. So about the year mark, I became a house leader. So the way the houses are set up, we have house leaders inside of the sober living homes that are kind of like the house mom, the house overseer, right? Not in charge of guys' actions, but in charge of their well-being, the culture of the home, the ministry, what's happening in that home, So at that moment, I found a divine purpose to serve. Like that. It was like, a little rank on the vest, right? And I got leveled up at that moment, and that's when it really started to get real clear for me what my purpose was. And about that time, I remembered that promise that I made God, right? God came through on His. Now He's here to collect on mine. He's like, hey man, where's your end of this? You said you were going to serve me. You said you were going to do this. You said you were going to do that. I got you out. And I put you here. So time to tax, like what's up? And so there I was, and I found a divine purpose to serve. Like I said, I found an opportunity that I got, a once in a lifetime shot to change my life. I was ready to give that to the next man. And that's how a blessing works, right?
Speaking of the next guy, Todd says, love you, bro.
Todd's an awesome man. Yeah. Lived at the house for a while, and he was a house leader for a while. He's a great guy. I found a divine purpose to serve and to give those men that shot that I got. And, the blessing, if a blessing stops with you, it ain't a blessing. Right. Blessing's meant to be shared. So there I was trying to share that blessing. And it was gladiator school, man. Like you say, Kirk, the most dangerous place is getting between a man and his sin. And that's exactly where you are deployed as a house leader. You are deployed in that line of fire between their old addiction, their maybe current addiction, of possible relapse situation, health and standards of the home. You have so much stuff that is kind of the weight that you carry for this. And then progressing forward through that, became the housing director. That was a little bit more of a prestigious title, I guess. I got into the court systems, and I got the opportunity to stand in those same courtrooms that were dishing out years of my life, right? I got to stand there, and most of them they would stop court and be like, is that Benjamin Drake? Like, you're still alive? Wow. Yeah, man, I'm alive, and I'm 2 years sober now. You know what I mean? I'm almost 4 years now, but in that moment, you know, and I had public defenders coming up, lawyers coming up, and they were just so taken back by it. My probation officer that I've had since the beginning of time, right? She made sure she saw me through this whole thing. And at the end of it, she's giving me gift cards to the Olive Garden and pulling her supervisor in and saying, look what this ministry can do, you know? And from, again, that was another rank up for saving God's children. And that's definitely what my deployment is I got my boots on and I'm ready to pull men from the clutches of addiction into sobriety and safety.
So coming from your experience and being that guy, like, you know, no joke, you were on your way out, being that guy, and somebody's that guy now, somebody's at that place that you were before you got, you know, saved, basically. What would you tell them, or what would you encourage them to look into so that maybe they could follow your path? Because I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there who just are hopeless and they don't have that self-love, they don't have that self-respect, and they're just kind of surviving. They're in that survival mode, but they may hope, or maybe they're just they don't believe that there's actually a way out.
Yeah.
What would you, like, you know, kind of encourage them, or just from your own experience, like say, hey, this is how you can get to where I am now?
I think first off, I just want to tell you that you are worth more than what you are currently going through. And that there's a community out there. There are strong men out there that have walked the similar road as whatever you're going through right now. And then there's a way out. And it's real. It's so real. You can taste it. It's here. Right? I got my daughter back. I'm almost 4 years sober. My daughter gets to look at me as that man that was not a good man, but a man that changed because he needed her in his life. She needed a dad in her life. And to glorify God through the whole thing, right? I got my little girl getting baptized. I got my little girl that's praying and doing these things like that because she saw the change that happened in her dad. And that's you. That's you. You're never too far gone. You're too far gone when you don't breathe no more. That's when it's too late. But until that moment, there's always hope. As far as it is down the road. And I'm going to plug it real quick. I hope this is okay. Step 7 Ministries is a sober living, faith-based sober living program that operates in Parker. Got 7 sober living homes, got recovery-based small groups, sober living homes, and a church service, all oriented around Jesus and Jesus done, recovery style, right? We have three-phase curriculum. We have homes, we have men, we have a support system and a community that will help you through whatever you're going through. And all you got to do is take that one step, right? Get online, go to the website, step7.org, all spelled out. Hit the contact us tab. There'll be a sober living application, fill it out. It'll get dropped to my personal email, and I will give you a call personally, and we can navigate this together.
See, y'all think, man, y'all don't believe me, man. I'm telling you, man. Y'all think I'm a chump, man. I'm telling you, I be trying to tell people, man.
You know people.
I do. I'm telling you, man. Ben, you the real deal, man. And man, I love knowing you. I love doing life with you, man. I mean, you started me on my fitness journey at the beginning of this year, man. I mean, you literally
Yeah, thanks a lot for turning me into case wall.
Dude.
Now I'm looking on. I started off doing good. Now I'm like, man, I'm feeling a little small now.
We can jump you on the program, bro.
February 8th, man. I'm telling you, that was the day this year, man. And I haven't looked back since, man. And I have you to thank for that. I'm 51 years old, man, but I'm probably, if I'm not there, I'm getting close to being, near the best shape I've ever been. And that's because of Ben. I mean, it just is. I mean,
you did the work.
Yeah, but everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs safety, man. You made it safe for me to say that, man, wait a minute, I can do this, man. I can get up in the gym and I can get up under some weight, man, and do the battle.
What people like you do, especially when you go through that trial and you come from that rock bottom, is you're the boat. You're creating that wake, and then these guys get to like catch that wake, catch your wake, your ripple, and basically surf that in, and they know they can do it because you've done it. You've already plowed that, trail right there. You're like cutting trail, and these guys are following right behind you. You're making it easier for them as that example.
It's an empowering thing, man.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just need to be empowered to do what we are capable of doing.
Amen.
And there's a catalyst to that, and that goes back to the end of your rope being the beginning of your fuse, man. When you light that fuse, the fuse is the thing that brings the heat source or the flame to the keg or to the firecracker or to the dynamite or to whatever it is, so that that has the potential can blow up and can do the thing that it was created to do, man. And you talked about purpose, you talked about all those things, and so all of that comes with being an empowering thing, being the fuse to help somebody blow up and do what they were created to do, man. And that's that's what people like you do in our culture, in our community, and just in the world, period. And that has a domino effect, man. It has a huge domino effect.
Something I'd like you to touch on. We might have to wait till the next segment, but you basically being, you're that trailblazer. You're the boat making the ripples. You're the pebble in the pond, but you're also the guy who, where'd that thought go? I had this great thought, I had this great thing, and it just went out of my head. You are basically the perfect example of your pain becoming your passion, your pain becoming your purpose.
Yes.
And that's kind of where we were alluding to in the first segment. Is like sometimes you don't even know what your purpose is until you address your pain.
Yeah.
And we run from our pain.
Yeah.
But in actuality, if we turn and confront that pain and look at it and study it and lean into it, we can find some things in our pain that we would never be able to find in our life because we try to hide. That's part of what addiction is, man. Yeah. We try to kind of medicate that stuff. We want to escape that stuff. And it's like, no, when you turn and look at the boogeyman, it's like the movie Monsters Inc.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, that monster is really not scary. That monster is scared of you. Because the devil was scared of you, man. That's why he wanted you to be an addict and go to prison for 30 years.
And ain't that the truth?
Because if you ever, because he knew that if you ever got free, he knew that if you ever got out of jail, if you ever got into a sober living home or into whatever, that you would, you would do what you're doing now, man. And that's a powerful thing.
And that's what step 7 is about, right? Building men.
Yeah.
Building warriors.
Yeah, that's being a catalyst right there, man. And so let's go early to a break.
Okay.
We're gonna come back and finish on this last segment.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time.
We'll have another minute or extra minute or two in this last segment. So we'll be right back. Madmen and Masculinity. Boom.
I can't believe that slipped out of my head. I was like, it was right there, and then I went, I want to say it. Where'd it go?
We cannot skip past
No.
the reconciliation between you and your daughter.
All right.
Oh yeah.
We cannot just let that go.
Man, I gotta tell you, being a dad's pretty cool stuff.
We cannot let that go, dude. We cannot let that go at all. So, dude, we gonna crush that thing.
Yeah.
Man, this is the last segment already.
Already. It goes so quick.
Fast.
Dude, man, this is phenomenal. Hey, by the way, last chance. If you're watching us online live, you can go to the Madmen and Masculinity page or YouTube and put in a comment like Todd did.
Yeah.
And we'll put you on the screen and make you famous.
Love you too, Todd. Man, I gotta tell you, every time I tell a story, right?
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Oh, you
go
can
back
feel
to
it.
those
Yeah.
smells.
Yeah.
I can go back to the moments.
Yeah, man.
Like
You can feel that energy coming off you. It's like, ooh, it's right there.
it's crazy.
That's real,
It's
man.
so
Tanner
real.
could feel it through the window. He was like, I can feel it. Lord have mercy.
And that shadow side is not far away from the light.
Correct.
The shadow is never far away from the light. And so even when you're living in your light, you can't be afraid of your shadow.
No, that's goes back to dangerous men are the
Good men are dangerous,
yeah,
man.
good men are dangerous. That's exactly right.
Well, it's like you think about just how shadows work. A lot of times when we're in our shadow, it's just a matter of turning around and facing light. Because it's right there. That's what's creating the shadow. But then of course that's the thing too, is we demonize our shadows. We demonize these things that are a part of who we are. And it's like until we can embrace both sides, then that's where the power comes in, that synergy comes in. But we're so afraid of exposing that shadow or even talking about it.
Right.
The fact that there is a shadow means light is present.
Yes.
There it is. I mean, that's it.
The fact that there is a shadow means light is present. If you got some dark shadows in your life, you got to recognize that light is there, or you wouldn't have or be able to see that shadow.
Yeah, that's the duality of our life. It's like you have to have both. You got to have darkness and shadow. They both have to exist to have contrast, so you can actually see where you're going, what you're doing, anything else.
But for you to be able to feel that and to experience that, even telling that story, I mean, is just proof that man, you can take what the devil meant for evil and use it for good. You can take all of the trash and make triumph. You know what I'm saying? You can take all of that stuff, man, and change the last two letters in victim and be a victor.
Right.
And so that's just proof, man, that it's right there, man.
We talk about it. All the past is training. Right. That's boot camp. Yep. That's the hard spec ops training and stuff like that you got to go through to be a warrior.
Yeah.
Right. And like you were talking about having two sides of being able to harness that.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You got to be able to mend both of those together and continue forward in a productive way. And that's when.
Well, I'm sure in your work, especially when you got new guys coming into the house, they can see right through if you've been there or not.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, please.
Yeah. I've had some stories.
Yeah.
People walk in the house and try to flex and stuff, and you're like.
It's
not how that works. Come on.
Yeah, I would walk in there with my fake Walter White story, and they'd be like, "Get out of here! That's your fakeness."
That's the real, man. That gives you the credibility.
Yeah,
man. That's what I'm saying. The street cred is way more than some papers on the wall sometimes, man. But shoot, man, the Batman is the Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's really a villain that just hates bad guys. And so, and especially in that world, man. What you do, man, it's hand-to-hand combat with evil and with.
Speaking of hand-to-hand, we better bring this back.
Tanner's like, look, man, y'all said
y'all said it. Get out of here,
come on, man.
Lying again.
Chicken suckers.
Oh, see, 2 football games. My bad. I thought you like English football, like the real football. Okay, he likes both. Okay,
that's funny. You're right, man. There are 2 Monday night games.
Oh, it is.
On my fantasy thing, I was like, wait a minute, I got 2 games. Okay.
All right. We'll go 4th quarter and get him out of here.
And hockey's tonight.
Oh man,
Avalanche and Dallas Stars. Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
Come on.
All right. Well,
here we go. Fine.
Here we sports fans.
I gotta get out of here.
Here we go.
And for you sports fans, we are back.
I'm telling you, man, we just if you watch this on Facebook or on YouTube, man, you got a whole lot of good stuff.
A whole extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes in there.
Deep stuff right there too. I'm telling you, man, don't sleep, man. Check out the live stream. But otherwise, we're just gonna keep talking and be up in this bad boy for another
until Tanner turned the lights off and kick us out because he got football to watch.
We can't in this last segment, man. We can't skip past the reconciliation between you and your daughter.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute.
Oh my gosh. I have the most perfect, beautiful little girl that God has ever made. And I will be the first one to tell that to anybody. Mm-hmm. And, I have to be in a certain spot in my life, a certain spot in my recovery to be able to relive those times where, I wasn't a good father. Right. You got to be careful with going down that road, but I think it's absolutely crucial to be able to walk the old battlefield, right? Over the bodies, over the things that were failures and the setbacks and all these things, because it reminds you of how much, how important it is. It's victory or death, right? Like you have to succeed at this. My little girl, she's 11 now, and she's 11 going on like 18. That little girl is awesome, and boy, I get to be a dad, right? For the longest time, and when I walked into step 7, I was pretty mad at God, to tell you the truth with that. I remember going to small groups and telling the small group, like I'm pretty mad at God because like I'm sober, I'm doing the things that without were impossible. Give me back my relationship with her, right? And I just Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, right? Do not lean on your own understanding, but in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight, right? My understanding of it all was that I should have that back. And his understanding was that you need to wait and continue to, let me forge you, let me create you to the man that she needs in her life when she needs him, right? And boy, she's just something special. This is the second time I've gone down to Texas to see her. She lives in a little town called Granbury outside of Dallas. And we do all kinds of things together when I'm down there. We talk every day on the phone. We do school stuff together. We, and she says, "Thank you, Daddy, for spending time with me. Thank you, Daddy, for being who you are." I went to Africa to do a missions trip with Step 7, and she ran to her friends everywhere and told her that my daddy's going across the world to share the gospel. And this was the same man that was, manufacturing dope, was destroying people's lives for a profit, and it's just, Kirk says, if God can use a man like me, he can use a man like you. You know what I mean?
I gotta ask though. I mean, it seems to me like it must be, but I don't put words in my mouth. But isn't it that much sweeter now that you've gone through that to be where you are now, to be like you appreciate it more? I mean,
yeah, I still battle with that whole self-esteem thing on that side. Like, man, you suck. Like, you should have been doing this from the beginning, But again, you got to lean on, this is the way. This is how it's got to happen for something beautiful to happen in the future, right? And I'm fully prepared, and I keep putting those bricks in the wall and keep making those deposits in the bank of, when I get to make that huge withdrawal, when my daughter calls and, "Hey, Dad, I want to come live with you," or, "Hey, Dad, I want to do this," these things like, "Hey, can you help me pay for college? Hey, can you buy a car? Help me buy my first car," stuff like that. I'll be fully prepared and suited and ready to go.
Yeah, it just puts a picture in my head of like, maybe for most fathers who haven't had your experience, it's kind of like they just have regular glasses on, like it just looks normal.
Right,
They don't
right.
have, like, you kind of have this magnifying glass of like, I know how it is to lose this or almost lose this, and now I'm like focused on being the best I can be.
Never take life for granted,
Right,
man. There's it gone, or changed to the point of it just takes a second. And I'm supremely grateful for that opportunity and the continuation of that, right? Because it could have been gone.
I'm picturing the day when maybe you get a phone call saying, "Dad, can you walk me down the aisle?" Or
get the tissues again, stop
or
everything.
Yeah.
"Dad, come meet your grandson. I named him Ben."
What? And that's the
Dude.
That's the part about it that why'd you do that, Kirk?
See, he's evil like that,
That's
man.
the thing that I was so willing to give up.
Mm.
That's what addiction will do. Will allow you to make those concessions in your life with those things. And if you are currently going through that right now in your situation where, maybe you've messed up, maybe there is a separation or a custody thing, you start doing the next right thing, you continue to do that next right thing, and God will give it back to you, right? You just got to sit. You got to keep doing what you need to do.
The definition of addiction that I heard recently that really resonates with me about, and it doesn't have to be just drug. I mean, because we were talking about during the break, addiction in the U.S. is normal now. It's been normalized. Everybody's addicted to something, whether it's shopping, cell phone, drugs, caffeine, food, whatever. But the definition of addiction that I heard that really kind of like struck a chord with me was addiction is giving up everything for one thing. And to heal, all you have to do is give up one thing for everything. But that's the hardest thing to give up. But you don't realize how much, everything else is there for you.
You just got to be that person. You just got to take those steps.
And you got to have help. I mean, you're not going to do it alone.
But and it ain't easy. It ain't easy. But the cool part is you don't have to do it by yourself. And Ben, I watch you. Ben, I watch you do what you do with the guy. as we're sitting here, you got a smartwatch on. Your phone's been ringing the whole time you've been sitting here.
Yeah.
Your phone rings all day,
Constant.
every day. I mean, you got the weight of a lot of lives on your shoulders, and it's a grind. And first of all, I want to encourage you in that, and reaffirm the calling that's on your life. Everything you've been through wasn't for you; it was for somebody else.
Exactly.
And then at the same time, you know, man, just recognize the fact that, man, you're doing the good work, man. You are absolutely doing the good work, man, and thank you for that.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For so long, I was doing the devil's work.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, like you said, it wouldn't be such a fight. It wouldn't be such a pull on your soul if you weren't meant for greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes across the board. That's just not me. That's not you. That's not Jay. I mean, that's everyone, right? There's obviously a war going on over your soul because of that.
Mm-hmm. And who knows what could be on the other side of this challenge, whoever you are.
Yeah.
You know, this challenge that you have, this obstacle that you have, this addiction that you have, you know, who knows what's on the other side of that. And you know, you kind of alluded to it earlier. All we got to do is just not quit, man. All we got to do is not quit. If you stumble, get your butt back up.
Yeah.
You know, if you're still alive, it ain't too late.
Yeah.
For some people, it is too late. For some people, they took one more hit. You know, and that last hit, especially nowadays with the fentanyl and all that stuff out here, man, and they took one more hit, and that hit was the last one.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this, you know, it ain't too late for you, whoever you are, man. And there is a journey from addiction, you know, to recovery. It is possible.
Yeah. It reminds me of the allegory of Plato's cave, because I mean, you're in addiction, you're in a cave. This is all you know. They're, you know, you putting little pictures on the wall and you think this is the world, you think this is reality, but there's a whole world outside of that cave for you. There's so much more out there for you. And it's just a matter of turning around, asking for help, getting a hand up, getting out of that cave, because, you know, it's amazing as human beings what we can get used to, but it's amazing what we're, you know, our capabilities are even more so.
So again, we only got a couple minutes left here, and obviously I want to make sure people can get a hold of you in step 7 if they need to, but kind of in summation, what does the person who's struggling, or the person who, because, you know, man, your family was praying for you and hoping for you. I mean, so how about that? How about the people around the person that's struggling for addiction? What kind of encouragement would you have for them in a sentence or two?
To not give up. To not give up on them. My mom now says that it's tears of joy and not tears of pain. Right. 6 months in, I got baptized, and it showed up, but they were still a little weary, right? They were like, well, hopefully this sticks, right? But through all this, you know, again, she says it's tears of joy and not tears of pain. She got her son back. And I think that's the outlook that family has to have for that individual struggling, is that optimism, like, okay, I'm going to get him back, or I'm going to get her back. I will. And what am I willing to do for that? Contact sober living, right? I have it all the time. I got moms and dads calling, and they'll call and say, hey, I'm calling for my son. So, well, does your son know about this yet? No. I said, perfect. Why don't you give him my number and just tell him to call me? I'll just have a chat with them. And then next thing you know, that they're a year sober, you know, unable to hold down a job and do all these different things, you know, but just don't give up on them.
I bet you'd be crazy enough to give your phone number over the air.
Man, you read my mind. I was going to be like,
I bet you'd be crazy enough to give your direct phone number to the world right now.
Here it is. Cell phone. Okay. 720-525-8204.
Say it again.
720-525-8204. Call me. Let me help you change your mind about some things.
JBK just put it in the comments right there. What about the website for the ministry?
www.step7allspelledout.org.
So, man, that is phenomenal, man. I mean, just like I said, just for you to do what you do, man. I mean, that's some amazing stuff, man. That is some amazing stuff.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna say this is probably one of the best shows we ever had.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, but you can't come on for like 6 months. I need like an emotional like cool down period.
Emotional detox.
As I was driving over here, I was like, you know what, dude, you should probably keep this upbeat. Semi-light,
Dude,
you know.
Stop hitting me in the face with emotions, man.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, legit, I think this might have been one of the best shows we've had.
Yeah, because we didn't talk that much, so it's probably pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, this is real, man. This is just real. And so this is some powerful stuff, man.
So all y'all out there, thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon for YouTube so that you can know when we're coming back on, and just keep up with us, because I mean, more of this is coming. If you enjoyed this, leave some comments, tell us what you liked, get a hold of Ben, send your people to Ben, and
what folks need to do is share this.
Share.
Absolutely.
Like, this is probably of every Mad Men we've done, this is probably, at least the first one anyway, that I can say this is a must share. If you don't hit the share button right now, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. And if you got
Somebody
ADD,
needs this.
if you got ADD and you can't watch for more than a minute, I'm gonna chop this up and put it out there in little TikTok videos so you can watch those.
Let's challenge them, right? Let's challenge them. Let's do 200 shares.
Oh, come on now.
Shares.
This is your part in this. You asked about what family does, what someone struggling with addiction can do. If you're not going to call step 7, share it.
Boom.
At least share the
push
story.
it to someone else
Yeah.
that needs to hear it.
Man, can't end it better than that.
No way. MadmenRadio.com. Like and subscribe. Share this bad boy. Somebody needs to hear it. And until next time, we will see y'all later. We are
Out.